On today's show, we're looking at the Sunlu 3D pen. Hey, welcome to the First Layer. My name is Richard Cleveland. I'm so glad to have you with me today. Today's show is all about 3D printing pens. And what we have in front of me is the Sunlu 3D printing pen. This was a recent giveaway from Sunlu. They sent a bunch out to several people. We are actually going to be giving one of these away at the end of August. So make sure that you've gone to our contest. And if you don't know about it, you can go to our Facebook group and the contest is up there. It's pinned to the top, so you can just go ahead and enter there. So this pen, well, there's really not much to say about it other than the couple of accessories that come with it. And let me just go over to my over-the-shoulder shot. It's fairly small. It's fairly comfortable to hold. It's got a little bit of weight to it. They send you a couple of little silicone thumb guards, which, look at this. They don't fit. So these definitely are not made for an adult. You see that? No, they're not made for an adult. So we're just going to throw those off to the side. It also comes with a couple pieces or strings of PCL, which is a much lower temperature plastic than even PLA. We are going to use PLA today to draw Batman. We're going to try and draw Batman today. This is just a picture I found online and chose to print it off and thought, well, let's see if my artistic skills are any good. Now PCL, I've never used it, so I'm just going to go like this. And it also comes with a USB charging cable, which I've got plugged in right now. This pen requires that you have 5 volts and 2 amps. If you are going to buy its own little wall wart or you're going to use a phone charger, make sure that you use the proper phone charger. Like I said, it needs to be 5 volts and 2 amps. So I guess we should plug this in, grab some PLA. I'm just going to ask my lovely assistant today, who's working the board. There she is, Jess Corniching. If she would just turn around and pass me that little roll of PLA that's right there. Because we're doing Batman, we need black. So one of the things that they tell you to do on this is when you're cutting your filament to go into the pen, I'll go back to this view, they don't want you to cut it on an angle like you normally would for a 3D printer. They want you to cut it straight across, just like that. Now, how do you know what filament you're putting into the machine? Well, there's 2 little indicator lights right here. The one is down at the bottom. When this one turns green, your pen is ready to use. If the light on the top is amber, that means you have it set up for PLA. And if it is off, it is set up for PCL. So we're just going to plug in the cord. And so our amber light is on, and so is our red light. We're going to wait for that red light to start up here. I'm going to grab some filament. Get that off my... You want to wait till the light turns green before you feed your filament in. Otherwise, you'll jam the printing pen up, which I've already done once. And it's not fun to unjam it. You'll notice there's 2 buttons over here. This button on this side is for your selection of filament. And on this side is your on-off control. Now it has its own speed, so be ready to draw out what you're going to do when you hit that button. Otherwise, you're going to have plastic just spewing out all over the place. It does come out quite quickly, so you want to be aware of that. What else can I say about this pen? Other than it has a ceramic tip, it does get hot, so don't touch it. That's what those little silicone socks are for. Unfortunately, they don't fit my fat fingers, so we're not going to use it. All right, so let's, we got the light blinking now. And we're just, if you hold the button, it will actually reverse the filament. I'm going to show you guys that in a little bit, but let's get the filament loaded first. You'll feel it grab the filament, or at least you should. My light is blinking. Come now. Blink, blink, blink. There we go. You can see now it's turned green, and once it's turned green, you hit the button, and you can feel it start to feed in, and it's going to feed in until it starts coming out the end. Now I've kind of got this a little convoluted, so you'll have to bear with me. You see there's a little bit of goop on the end. You can clean that off. And now it's coming out. Well, let's see if I can draw Batman. Boy, I am not very good at all, am I? Now, because this has an on-off switch, you can turn it on and off as you need to. And I'm not doing that because I actually am very horrible at this. This takes a little bit of practice. Okay, so now we got the outline done. Let's fill it in. My God, this looks horrible. But okay, let's go ahead and fill it in. Start filling you in. Why aren't you coming out now? There we go. There we go. We'll just get that in there. And you can actually go fairly fast with this, which is kind of interesting. Get all that filled in. Get all this filled in. You do have to move quite fast with this pen. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a big glob of junk on your pen. And going into the actual plastic is probably not the best idea. Okay, so there we go. That was my first attempt at making a picture with a 3D pen. Let's take the filament out now. I'll show you how to do that. So let's get the globule off the end there. And I've got a little bit of paper towel here. I'm just going to clean up the end. Now, the end is quite hot. I think it's right around 170 to 75 or 80 degrees. Yep, it's hot. There we go. So now we're going to hold the pen, the button down for a few seconds, and then it's going to start to release it. And you just want to pull it, make sure you get it all out of there. And you are done. There we go. So now you can shut off the pen, just unplug it. Now I printed this fancy little holder here, which you can find on Thingiverse, and we will link it in the description down below. And all this does, just hang your pen on it, just like that. So how well did we do with our Batman picture? Well, not well at all. Can we get it off there? Probably not. It does stick to paper quite well. So let's see if we can actually, oh, look at that. So there is our Batman. Let's go back to this one. So there's our Batman. We could have done a better job. We could have played with it a little bit. But there is quite a learning curve to this pen. So if you are going to get yourself one, or you happen to win our contest this month, then take your time with it, play with it, see what you can do. You know, not only can you make pictures on with your 3D printer pen, but you can also fill seams with it. Let me just get the goobers off of this, and we'll start filling in the seam on this helmet right here. So we're going to hit start, and we're just going to start forcing some material in to the crack along this helmet. And when that sets up and it cools down, you can come back and sand it out. So if you've got something like a helmet You can certainly, and try and keep the goobers off the end of your pen, that always helps. You can certainly fill in seams, and that will help you with your cosplay. And try and remember not to be like me and make sure you turn it off when you're supposed to. So we're just going to fill a couple more seams along here. And this can take the place of putting in filler. So you're using the same material in this case. In this case, we're using PLA. So you know, you're going to end up coming back and painting this later anyway. And the PLA is going to stick well enough for you that the unit itself will be a benefit to anybody that's doing cosplay, because this is non-toxic. You know, when you're using PLA, it's non-toxic. It fills in really nice. Like there's a couple of places I can come back and clean up, like that little bit right there, which I didn't get in very well. But this stuff here that's all down in this crack right here, really has stuck in there well. So there you go. You can fill in your helmets. You can, for your cosplay, if you've got models, you know, like statues and things like that, you can also certainly go ahead and use the pen to fill in the seams on your models and then just come back and sand them out. This is going to sand really nice because it's just PLA. Again, you're going to want a wet sand. And if you're doing a helmet like this Halo helmet, you definitely want to wet sand it and get the texture down and make sure that everything is right there. And then you can come back later on with some filler, if you've got little tiny holes, and just fill it in with a little bit of filler like we've shown you on the show many times. And then just go ahead and start painting it up. And away you go. Now you've got yourself a helmet or a whole cosplay outfit, and you're using a 3D pen to fill in those seams. Now, who's this pen for? Well, this is for somebody who wants to start getting into 3D printing, is not really sure what they want to do. I've seen some incredible videos over the last few days showing you how to do things like Pac-Man, SpongeBob SquarePants, without having the necessity of having a full 3D printer in your house. The young lady who was doing the demos did it right with a 3D pen. Now, Sunlu has a few different models available. This is the Model M 3D drawing printing pen. This one is black. Again, it comes with everything that you need to get started, with the exception of the actual wall wart that you need to power the pen. So there you go. That's it. That's all. There's not much to really tell you about a 3D printer pen, other than you can change colors. Every time that you change a color, be aware that you want to make sure that you're using all the same filaments. So if you're going to use PLA or PCL for your entire project, use either or for the entire project. Don't go ahead and try and switch them up to the different materials, because they may not stick very well to one another. Okay, so with that said, nice and short and sweet today. I want to thank a few people. Of course, I want to thank my great team, which now includes a new member. So we've got Jess Corniching, there she is there. We've got Frank Awesome, and now we have Brian Baker as part of our group, and of course my lovely wife who works behind the scenes, Geraldine. And I want to thank all of my Patreons for all the support that you guys give us here on the show. I really appreciate it. So if you want to become a Patreon and see what we're doing over on our Patreon page, go ahead and sign up to patreon.com/thefirstlayer. And like I said, we are going to give one of these 3D printing pens away as I throw everything on the floor. So we've got one of these to give away this month, and we'll be drawing the winner at the end of the month. We are using Gleam now for our contests because it's just easier on me to use Gleam. So we're going to give one of those away. And what else we got going on? Who else do I want to thank? Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, if you're interested and you don't want to be part of Patreon, but you still want to show your support for the show, you can go ahead and buy me a coffee. The whole team loves coffee. You go to buymeacoffee.com/thefirstlayer, and you can pledge an amount there if you'd like. And that's a one-time thing. You don't have to do it every month. You're not committed to doing that as well. Now, if you want to get a hold of me, you have any questions, you can certainly always reach me by email at richard@thefirstlayer.com. Our website is almost there. We're going to release the whole website pretty soon. Right now, there's only one page, so we are trying to get that done. I also want to, listen, if you want to send something into the show for me to look at or review or anything like that, you can always send it to the First Layer at 230-11929 40th Street Southeast, Calgary, Alberta, T2Z4M8. And we'll show your stuff off on the show if you'd like us to. We've done it a couple of times for some people. Finally, what else do I got to say? Oh, yeah. Always like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you get notified every time a brand new episode goes up online. And with that said, my friends, remember, the first layer is always your foundation to, well, not in this case, a great print.